Hello traders, welcome back to the channel. This is Vishal and you're watching the weekly sectoral analysis. Well, we all of us know that there is a war situation going on between India and Pakistan right now. So obviously we saw in the last couple of days there was a little bit of volatility in the markets, especially in the Nifty and Bank Nifty. So how much more can we correct from here? Where are the important supports? And it seems that India VIX, I generally do not talk about India VIX, but I guess we are at a juncture in the market where India VIX either will crash or either it will break out and possibly go ahead. If it goes up ahead, obviously there will be more volatility in the market. So I'll talk about the India VIX at I think in the middle of the video or at the last, but as of now, let's start with the Nifty spot. So looking at the monthly time frame chart, you can clearly see that the trend is up, and this month, which has just started, obviously we are trying to come a little bit down due to the war situation. In the weekly time frame chart, we can see that the initial pullback was very nice. It was furious pullback, and now we are trying to retrace a little bit on the downside, and this visual is more properly visible in the daily time frame charts. In the daily time frame charts, we seem to be looking very strong so far, because still not a very big damage has been done. This is the last high, this is the current high, so we have made a higher high. If we by chance we are able to make a higher low, this is the previous low over here, if you are able to make a higher low, then we'll have a decent chance that even after a correction we might start going up higher. Now whether that will happen or not, we'll talk about that. Looking at the current position of the market, if you just remember, in the last couple of weeks I have been constantly telling that we need to consolidate more, we need to see a little bit of profit booking, we need to cool off a little bit, right? And it was not a very good time to possibly trade in the market. And then we had the attack on us in April in Pelgam, which was very sad, and then we have retaliated, and then we can see the markets are correcting right now. But I would like to say one thing, like previously, if you see in 2016 or 19, whenever we have tried to do some action on the Pakistanis, the way we have corrected is in the vicinity of 3 to 4% or maybe a little bit higher, and then we try to recoup and we go up higher. This time it's very different. Like India VIX has shot up, which I'll talk about it, but if you see the price, if you see the candles, so far the market has corrected in a very subdued manner. You will not be able to see any big large candles over here. The candles are very small, which is extremely surprising. Okay, and in terms of support, if you see, this is the first support, I would say 23,900. If this support is broken, immediately we'll have this previous high, which is 23,850, and then a little bit support comes at, you can say, 23,750 or 23,500. So we have a lot of supports coming up over here. Now, will these supports work or don't work? Well, we have no idea, because in case we have a sudden gap down, because in the last couple of days, whatever we had seen, like there was a ceasefire and these guys did not respect ceasefire, and if we open gap down or something, then all bets are off, obviously. But this is the entire band where we have a array of supports from 23,900 to possibly 23,600. If that breaks, then we'll talk about the next support very soon. But so far, you can say the trend in the daily time frame chart in Nifty spot is flat, and even if war or no war, we needed to correct, we needed to consolidate, which is happening. But will this aggravate? That is what we'll only come to know with time. Bank Nifty, again, if you have a look at the monthly time frame chart, looks much stronger than Nifty. Now over here, if you have a look in the weekly time frame chart, it is looking much different. This is looking much different than the monthly time frame chart. This is the weekly, this is the monthly. Now the weekly time frame chart is looking very different. The only reason for that is in the weekly time frame chart we have been able to rally very, very quickly, especially from this point to this point. Then we retraced, and this rally was even more larger and quicker. And then what happened was that we had slightly got into the overstretched area, and we needed to consolidate. We needed to possibly retrace. That is what is happening. Now, looking at supports in the daily time frame chart, you can say that this entire band was a decent support from 53,950 to 54,477. We have closed below that, which is okay because the percentage of rally which we had was really a big rally in a very short span of time. So now if this support is broken, which it can on Monday opening or maybe later on, of 53,420 or 53,400, the next support will come at 52,650, and a larger support can come at 51,800 thereabouts. All right. So I think time will tell what happens next. Private banking pack, if you have a look again, monthly time frame charts looking strong, weekly charts looking very, very similar to the Bank Nifty weekly chart. So I will not talk much about the private banking space, but I would only say that yes, again, war or no war, we needed to consolidate, we needed to take a breather, we needed to correct, which is happening. Now, will this aggravate in terms of volatility or not? Obviously, we'll come to know in the next week. PSU banking space. Now, PSU banking space, you can say they are consolidating in the monthly time frame chart, and it's a very mixed bag, I should say, in the weekly time frame chart. The way you are looking at the price, initial rally, then a dip, a retracement, again a rally, and again we can see a couple of inverted hammers. Again, we can see over here some sort of buying happening at the lower level. It's like the PSU banking pack is trying to go up with very small rallies, with very small dips and small retracements. That's what is happening right now. Again, if you have a look over here in the daily time frame charts, you will be able to see more clearly. Rally, dip, rally, dip. Again, the candle over here which has been made is a very good candle. Also, we do have a higher low in space over here in the daily time frame charts, which is favorable for the bulls. But again, what's going to happen in the war space and what effect will we have over here on the charts? Again, this is what even I cannot comment. So we'll have to wait and watch finally on Monday, Tuesday, what happens. Okay. Energy pack. Energy pack, again, in the monthly time frame charts, I should say that trying to consolidate much. The first rally which happened over here was nice. We dipped down. Again, we are trying to go higher. A little bit buying on the lower side, a little bit selling on the upper side. So overall, I should say we are consolidating in a very short span of time. As far as we don't break this low, things are okay. But how much lower we go from here, that is what we need to see in the next coming days in the energy pack. Auto pack. Auto pack, in the monthly time frame charts, things are looking okay. We are just consolidating. It's nothing much attractive over here, I should say. In the weekly time frame chart, we have been able to rally pretty nicely with a vertical sort of, not exactly vertical, but looks like a vertical rally. Now, if you see over here, 1, 2, and 3, all 3 weeks, we have seen some sort of profit booking happening in the weekly time frame charts. So in the next coming days in the auto pack, I will not be surprised that we may not fall much, but some sort of profit booking, and some sort of consolidation may occur in the auto pack, and it is required. Consumption pack again, chart looks to be average in the monthly time frame chart. Yes, we are trying to surely bounce back from the important supports, but overall it doesn't look like a rally or very, very nice bounce back, which we can see in the daily time frame chart because this is the lower time frame. Now, if you see one thing over here in the weekly time frame charts, after the initial pullback, we have been only and only consolidating. Nothing much, like one candle which is showing buying on the lower side, couple of candles showing selling on the upside. This candle is showing buying and selling both, like Buying is happening on the lower side, selling is happening on the upper side. So overall, we are consolidating. I think in the consumption pack, we'll have to wait and watch and see what happens. One thing is positive, which I can see that this is the first low, this is the second low. So far, we can see that we do have a higher low. What happens in the next week needs to be seen. And we need to understand one thing that, when a bottom is made, when a large bottom is made after a very large correction, things do not act swiftly like this. Only seldom it happens. It takes time. It takes its own process. It takes its own time. It'll go higher, it'll give a breakout, come down, retrace, consolidate, then it'll start moving higher. So it is going to take time, right? Finance pack. Finance pack, again, I will not like to speak much over here. It has been able to be in an uptrend, and it's consolidating over here, you can see a little bit, but it seems that yes, some sort of profit booking may happen, and the next support for the finance pack is 25,180, 190. FMCG pack. Now FMCG pack, again, if you have, I'll just remove this. If you look at the weekly time frame chart, things are not great. It's not bad, but it's just consolidating. In the weekly time frame charts, I would say something is pretty nice over here. I'll say why. Okay. So what has happened over here is that we have two trend lines. I'll talk about the larger trend line first. This is the first low and this is the second low over here. Okay. And you can see the trend line is getting extended. So we have bounced back from a very firm support. And the next trend line, the smaller one, which is the actual game which is happening over here, 1, 2, the second time it has not been able to test, but it's almost there. Again, third touch, the fourth touch. So FMCG has been able to bounce back from really strong and firm support in the weekly time frame charts. And if you do have a look at the daily time frame chart, we also have a trend line breakout. Now we do have a lower high in place, I do agree, but at the same point of time, we do have a trend line which has been tested once, second, and this is the third time, and we do have a breakout. And many times it does happen before the Dow theory. Trend line breakouts give us the first indication that the trend is changing. Now, is it a proper breakout? Are we going to bounce back from here? Yes, it looks like so, but we need to understand one thing. When something out of the box happens like a war or something, then all the levels are thrown out. Okay. So we need to understand we are at a decent support over here. We have the 55,050 as a retracement, which is a support. Again, we have a trend line support. But we need to understand, we need to respect that when price shocks happen due to various reasons, whether it's a drought, whether it's some political thing happening, whether it's war or anything, all these levels can be taken for a toss. So far, so good. Next week, what happens, we need to again watch it and have a new view on this particular sector. Infra pack. Infra pack, one of the strongest sectors right now in the short term. I will just like to say just one thing about it. Overall looks stronger. We do have a first low, second low, third low. If it happens within this zone somewhere over here and doesn't fall much further, it will be positive for the sector. CNX Infra. IT pack. Okay, now IT pack, looking at the monthly time frame chart, we do have a very big hammer, but after the hammer, we don't have any significance build up on the bullish side because this candle is yet not complete. We are still in the middle of the May month. So I'll not give a lot of importance to the monthly time frame chart. In the weekly time frame chart, we have been able to bounce back. I will accept that, but this bounce back is coming up at a juncture where we have a tremendous amount of resistance coming from the trend line. And this trend line is extremely important and it has been tested 4 times since mid 2020 and 2020, which means 4 to 5 years old trend line, very big trend line. Over here also, if you check properly, we do have consistently formation of lower lows and lower highs. So we are overall in a downtrend. until and unless we do not surpass this high of 38,000 or 38,500, I think the overall stance on the IT pack is negative. Metal pack again, looking at the weekly time frame, monthly time frame charts, we are consolidating. The weekly time frame charts are pretty much very haywire. It means first we consolidated, we gave a breakout which was impressive. Suddenly we have come down and made a new low. So things are happening very quickly over here. Like we have a higher low, now we have a lower low, now we have again a lower high. So things are happening way too quickly in the metal pack. But overall, looking at the current formations, especially in the weekly and the daily time frame charts, as of now, so far it looks that metal is in the short term, not in the medium term, but in the short term, it is a little bit weaker. Pharma pack, I will have no views on it. I will just stay quiet. I'll not like to say anything. We can see that we are still consolidating and in a range. So I'll leave pharma pack aside and we'll go ahead. Even in the weekly time frame charts, you can see very clearly that don't have much to say. We are just consolidating. PSE sector. PSE sector, again, things were improving in the monthly time frame charts. In the weekly also, things are okay. The trend is flat, by the way, in both these time frames, in the weekly and even in the monthly time frame charts, the trend is flat. And surprisingly, in the daily time frame chart also, the trend is flat because we are trading between the dual moving averages. Now, what we need to understand in the daily time frame chart is that we have broken an important support. First thing, see, this was an important support which was within the range of 93.50 to 94.50. We have been able to break that. Next support is at 9100. If you break this one, the next support is at 89.80 or 89.50, 70. As far as we are above this low, things are okay. If you break this low, obviously things will change. Realty pack again, I would like to say that initially the Realty pack did try a lot harder, made a higher high over here. The trend is flat in the weekly time frame chart, so is in the monthly time frame charts. The support from where we did pull back was a very decent support in the weekly time frame chart. But after this initial pullback, not much strength is visible somehow in the daily time frame chart. Why? I'll tell you that. See, in the weekly time frame chart, if you check properly, the support over here, it's a multi-week consolidation. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 3 months consolidation. After a 3 months consolidation also, what we have been able to produce over here, nothing great. Just a little bit move above this high and we dip down. So I think not a very good sign and still consolidating. I'll leave the Realty pack aside. Now talking of mid caps, I would say again, trend is flat in the monthly, weekly, but in the last 2 weeks, we have some selling from the higher levels, but in the current week, we do have a little bit of buying coming up from the lower levels also over here. And one thing which we need to understand, now this thing can go for a toss immediately on a Monday opening if we have a very big gap down in Nifty or mid caps. But so far, if you check properly, there has not been even one close below the support, which is from 52,773 to 53,351. There was a gap down opening, yes, but the closing has been above the support. Now, if you say where is the next support, I would say that the next support could be in the juncture. If this breaks, the next support could be somewhere at 51,100 and even there is a gap. So there are multiple supports even for mid caps. But how much gap down do we open? That I have no clue. Will we open a gap down? I have no clue. We'll have to wait for the next week. Now, guys, I will talk about India VIX, which I generally don't, which I told about in the starting of the video. So let's open the India VIX. Now I have the data of the India VIX. I just like to go to the weekly time frame chart. If you check properly over here in the India VIX, you can see there has been multiple times a try to break the level of 34,500. Okay, which is a weekly time frame chart, a very high VIX. Okay, when this happened, possibly somewhere in 2022 and a little bit in I should say June 2024. This was possibly when the Lok Sabha elections happened. Now this is a little bit far, so we need to go to the daily time frame charts for immediate short-term moves. Now if you go to the daily chart, you can see a resistance, you can see a ceiling over here. Now this ceiling is coming up, a resistance is coming up at 23.022, something like that. So we have tried to break this in possibly 5th August 2024, once a few days back in 7th of April, okay, and then we crashed. So either I think it will be very surprising that if India VIX does not break this and we again fizzle down on this downside. If this happens, this will be a good strong indication for the Indian equity markets. But if you break this, if you break like this, and if we keep moving higher, I think the next resistance in the India VIX is nearby 31 or 32. So just be careful about this. Generally, I don't track India VIX, but this time it is important because a lot of development is happening, the war situation. So summing it up all, I would say that again, not a very good time, which I've been repeating consistently in my last couple of weeks videos and even on my Twitter channel. Not a very good time to go extremely bullish. Yes, we have made the initial rally. We have got the initial pullback in this extremely large correction. Fine, it's good. But after that, we needed to consolidate, which we have. We needed to correct. We need to take a breather. But this breather, this correction should happen on a lower volatility. On a higher volatility correction, which it will mean something a little bit more. Okay. So how this correction actually happens, this is which more important. Does it increase the volatility, or the correction comes with low volatility and the volatility crashes further and then we move up or not? I think only time will tell. Stay calm, stay cool, calm, composed. Don't trade a lot, and be safe. Take care, guys. Thank you.